Hi there, welcome to my cooking class. It's Jacqueline and we are sailing into 2024. And I hope you're like me, you're eating a lot healthier this year so you can get to a healthier you. And today's recipe is gonna fall right in line with some really good food choices. So we're gonna be making salmon patties today. What we're gonna be using is our crispy and crunchy coating. Now, for those of you who are gluten intolerant, you're gonna love this product. This is actually like panko breadcrumbs, but the difference is it's made from rice breaded. So it's gluten-free. So if you want still that deep fried kind of feeling, and of course you can never have it because you're celiac or gluten intolerant, we've just become your best friend. Now we're not going to coat our salmon in this. Instead, we're going to actually put it in as a binder for our salmon. And you do need a binder. If you've been watching any of my cooking classes, you may have seen that sometimes I make patties and I will eliminate the filler. You cannot do that with any kind of fish. You need the binder. And so today, that's what you're using. So you'll need an entire package, and the equivalent is about a half a cup that's in a package. So if you do not have this and gluten's not an issue and you want to use panko breadcrumbs, by all means, I will put the recipe there so you can decide which one you want to have, a package or if you want to get panko breadcrumbs. Next, we are going to add some seasoning. Now we need to get some moisture into this breader. And you can do one of two things. I'm actually going to take an onion and I'm going to grate it, juice and all, in there. It's gonna give it some really great flavor. Now, if you don't have any onion, and does it have to be red? No, it doesn't. You can use yellow onion, you can use white onion. The other option is you can actually use our 3 onion. You just need to moisten it because, of course, this is a dry mix. So let's get our grater and let's start making the base for our salmon. I've got a grater here, and you can have a box grater. This is a microplane grater, and I've got an onion here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grate. Now, this onion, of course, is filled with juice, and that juice is going to help moisten this up for that salmon. So, like I said, if you wanted to use 3 onion instead, just moisten it up. You just want to have the moisture happening inside and adding the additional flavor to that salmon. So the size of onion that you're going to use is roughly a small size onion. If you have to cut an onion in half or a quarter, depending on the size, you can do whatever you want. Now, some onion, of course, is very intense in flavor, so you're going to be able to discover that as you're grating it because you will be able to smell the fumes. And that's one of the reasons why I quite often will just put in the 3 onion. Now, if you just wanted to put in the 3 onion, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your prep bowl. I've roughly put about a tablespoon, so using your 4-in-1 spoon, put a tablespoon in there, and then you're going to, I'm gonna say 1 nice heaping teaspoon, and we'll just stir this up. There we go. So now you get to see, do you want to grate? So as you saw, it takes a little bit of work to grate an onion. And I wanted to show you how I was taking the time and effort to do that. But now I'm going to show you how easy it is with Epicure and why you are probably already a huge fan. So taking your prep bowl or whatever bowl you have, I've roughly got a tablespoon. I used my 4-in-1 spoon, put a tablespoon of liquid in there, and now we're gonna flip it down to the other end. And as you can see, this is a dry mix. We're going to add a teaspoon, heaping if you like, it's up to you, of our onion, and we're just going to let that set up a little bit before we add it into our crumbs. The other thing that we're going to be adding in here is you can put in lemon dilly, because of course lemon and dill really goes well. And we'll put in a teaspoon of that. You may want to add some additional garlic if you like, and so you could use something like minced garlic. And you don't need a lot, it's quite intense as well, so maybe you'll flip it over to the back side here and put in like just, especially because you don't want to overpower it. You may have noticed, oops, sorry, I had put this in with my onion because I want to get that flavor going. So remember, we're trying to moisten up our crumbs. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add an egg. So just give this a crack. You can moisten this up a little bit. Just break it up a bit. Now you're probably wondering, okay, how come I haven't added my salmon yet? Well, the reason we're not adding the salmon yet is putting it in right now is just going to make it into mush, and I actually love the flavor of salmon. So while we're just getting this mixed up, why don't we just talk about how much people really do love salmon? So there's basically, salmon is a powerhouse for being nutritional. So we've got our wet ingredients in here now. We're just going to stir this up. So salmon, like I had just started mentioning, salmon is a powerhouse when it comes to the nutritional factor. I mean, it's got protein, it's got vitamin D, it's got calcium. And in fact, let's just talk about the calcium in a can of salmon. So I've got a salmon here, and of course there's, oh gosh, we've got pink salmon, we've got chum salmon, we've got coho salmon, we've got red sockeye salmon, Atlantic salmon, Pacific salmon, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. But when you buy salmon, you'll discover that in your can, and if you're wondering, is canned salmon good for you? Yes, it doesn't really matter whether you're using it fresh or if you're using it from the can. Getting it in the can and getting it on sale, just so you know, you can keep this for about 3 years. It's so shelf stable. And if you do open it up, put it in a container, not keep it in the can, but it can be good in your fridge for 3 to 4 days. So in your salmon, you'll probably find these little bones. And some people, I know when I was a little girl, I used to pick them up. It was like, ooh, but they are so, they're saturated and they've been sitting in the can and they just mush up to nothing. Now that adds great calcium. So I don't know if you're picky like I was, if you want to pull out the bones, by all means go ahead. But if you leave them in there, it's going to add that extra calcium in for you. The other thing that you're going to notice when you buy your salmon is the skin is left on. And some people like or don't like having the skin on. I actually dug through here and flaked it off. It's not my thing. So there you go. You decide. So we've got this salmon. We've drained it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to want to just sort of flake it into here. And like I said, I don't want it to be mush. I want to have those nice chunks of salmon. So it makes a really nice patty. So you can see I didn't take off the skin and all of it here. So you can decide the salmon skin is fine. So I'm just breaking it up lightly. You could use a fork if you prefer. And I'm just going to sort of fold it over because I don't want it to just be a mush ball, okay? I want to have those chunks. You can also season it at this point. So salt, pepper, garlic. What am I grabbing? Yep, SPG. So let's grab a little bit of this. Again, get our spoon. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit in here. And this is to taste, so you can decide what you're going to do for seasoning. Remember, you can always add the salt and the pepper at the table, which is one of the easier ways for you to cut back on your sodium intake. So let's talk about some fun food facts. Believe it or not, Canadians love salmon. 78% of the population eats salmon annually, and 10% eat salmon every week. 10%. Which provinces actually like salmon the most or eat the most? A PI, which would make perfect sense, is on the coast, and Alberta. Yep. Us Albertans, we love our beef, but clearly we like our salmon. So sort of, I guess it's our technique to surf and turf. So there we go. We've got this. If you wanted to put some shallots in here or onions for color, by all means, go ahead. But I actually think it looks very flavorful. You're going to get a baking sheet. And what you're going to do now, if you happen to have one of these scoops, these are great, or you can use our burger press. I put away my burger press for the winter. I don't usually barbecue that much, but I'm just going to use, this muffin scoop. I find it works perfectly. And we're just going to, give me a second, my mat's just not positioning itself very well. We're gonna just take this and make our patties. Doesn't this look great? Now, I should also mention that the oven is heated up right now to 420 degrees. All of our silicone, you'll notice this liner. I love the liner because, of course, I don't have to put oil on here. It's a great way for cutting back your fat, but it just also really saves a lot of time cleaning in the kitchen. So this silicone mat, and all of our silicone is good up to 425 degrees. So putting this in the oven is perfect. You don't have to use parchment paper, and of course throw it away. You rinse this off, wash it off, and it's reusable. So if you want, you can flatten these out a little bit, but you've roughly got the right size. And you can see, actually you can't because I have this positioned the wrong direction. You can probably now, but you can see how I've got the chunks of salmon in here. So it's just going to taste super yum. Now this is going to go into the oven, like I said, at 420 degrees, and it's not going to take long to cook at all. So we will check it. We are also going to serve it with a cauliflower puree, and we're going to make that, of course, in our silicone steamer in the microwave while this is cooking up. So there you go. Let's get this into the oven, 420 degrees, off we go. One last thing, I was gonna put this in the oven, and then I thought, oh, I remembered I wanted to put some Parmesan on here. So one last thing that you could do just to have flavor, because I know when I have burgers, the burgers and the cheese and everything tastes better with cheese. I've just got a little bit of freshly grated Parmesan. I'm not gonna put too much on. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little on the top. Parmesan, of course, has got that nutty sort of flavoring, but this is going to just enhance this burger a little bit. I'm sure you already are, if you've got smell-o-vision like I always say I do. I can see food on TV and I can almost smell it. But if you've been watching, now you probably discovered, okay, the flavors in this are going to be so darn amazing. So here we go. That was a trial run back there. It is now officially going into the oven. So cauliflower, as I've been sharing with you, it's really easy to stretch your dollars if you buy things that are on sale. And in fact, I found this cauliflower head. It was on sale for $3.99. It was huge. In fact, as I was standing at the till, a senior who was behind me said, "Wow, that is one big cauliflower." So I said to her, $3.99 each. So she literally left the line and went back to get one herself. This is only part of it. I've saved the next for another cooking class. But what we've done here is I've got my round steamer. As you can see, I've washed it. I've sort of put it into chunks. And now we are going to steam this. It won't take too long. We want to make sure that it's soft to touch, and we are going to throw this in the blender with a little bit of milk of your choice, a little bit of seasoning of your choice, and we are going to blend that so that when the salmon comes out, rather than having the bun, we are actually going to have a cauliflower base, and we're going to put that salmon that's got those chunks in it, and then that little bit of cheese on top, and we'll just dress it up maybe with a little dip that we're going to be making here right away. So let's get this in the microwave. As you saw, it's just cauliflower, no liquid. We're just going to let it steam in its own juices. So as you can see, the salmon's cooking. Now it's going to stay in the oven for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to flip it over for about another 5 minutes just to make sure it's cooked uniformly through. I've got my blender getting ready. I've got a couple more minutes left of steaming my cauliflower, and I want to make like a little dip. Now, what I'm going to be doing is, this is yogurt. You could use sour cream if you prefer. I'm going to add some lemon dilly and, of course, one of my favorites, capers. Almost time for me to flip my patties over. So quickly, I'm just going to get my yogurt. I'm going to add some capers, yum, and it's personal choice how much you want to put in here. I love them. I think they're just awesome because of that salty little zip. We're going to get our lemon dilly, our 4-in-1 spoon. I want to have some decent flavor in here, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of that. I'm going to give it a stir. If you wanted to put fresh lemon in here, you could. I'm actually going to squeeze it on at the table. So there you go. My cauliflower is screaming at me that it has been microwaving for approximately 9 minutes. That should have it nice and soft, ready to put into my blender, or if you have a food processor, you can put it in a food processor as well. So there we go. Let's get back to the action in the oven. Okay, that is 15 minutes. So using your flipper, and you can see how using that breadcrumbs, they're holding together nicely. My Parmesan cheese is now attached. We're just going to put this back in the oven for 5 more minutes. I'm going to get my cauliflower going, and we're going to have this on the table in a couple more minutes. You're going to love this. All right, now that's some steamed, oops, Alexa, turn off the alarm. We've got our steamed cauliflower. It is, of course, hot, but now it's soft. So we'll just put this into food processor or your blender. You can add a little bit of skim milk here and seasoning of your choice. I'm actually going to put a little bit more of the lemon dill. Not a lot, just so it's just that subtle little kick. I'm also going to put in some smoked paprika. So here's the smoked paprika. Nice little hit of that. I wanted the smokiness in here. Plus, you're going to need a little bit of liquid. So skim milk, this is oat milk, and I can't really tell you how much to put in because it depends on how much cauliflower you're cooking. So you're just gonna have to play around with this a bit. Now, if you're not familiar with using products that are hot, always make sure that you have a tea towel in case this explodes, because you don't want to have a mess in the kitchen that you have to deal with. Let's take a look. That's pretty noisy, wasn't it? Okay, yum. Just make sure this has the seasoning that I want in it. Oh, delish. We are ready. Boy, am I hungry. So let's get our dish ready with our cauliflower puree on the bottom and our salmon, because it is ready to come out of the oven. Wow, delicious. Does this smell great? Now, I will also mention, I loved canned tuna and salmon as well, because if you happen to be in an area that you don't have the opportunity to make sure that the fish that you're buying at the store is fresh, you can never go wrong with canned. Never go wrong with canned. So I plated my cauliflower puree. Oops, the coloring's really off there. Nice, silky, smooth, just has a little hit of the paprika, little bit of lemon dill in there, not enough to really identify it, but there's just something in there. And now we're going to take our salmon and we're going to just set this on top. Of course, we've got our yogurt dip. And then if you're entertaining, or you just feel that you need to be special and you happen to have dill, there you go. So salmon, canned salmon, amping it up. It is very inexpensive, especially if you get it on sale. And as you can see, you can make this be a rock star in your kitchen. I am sure you're gonna want to have been here tonight, because I can guarantee this will be absolutely delicious. So thank you for watching my cooking class. We'll see you again next Thursday for another installment of a healthy meal made in minutes from my kitchen to yours. Take care, everyone. Thanks again for watching.